All right, everybody, welcome back to YouTube. I'm here to talk about. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a sensitive subject. No, it's not the stupid woke bullshit that's going on today. It's more of around fatherhood, and they say that it's a little controversial. Trigger warning, because I'm just gonna call guys out, and I know the excuses that are gonna be there. You're not a dad, or you haven't had kids, whatever, like the bullshit. But I'm gonna give a little bit of a disclaimer, like you can't really use that against me too much. I have been watching my niece since she's been about 3 months old, waking up in the middle of the night, bottle feeding her, all that stuff. Had her for weeks and months at a time, and she's 5 years old now, and I do know the impact a child makes on your life, because the fact that I have to change entire routines when she comes, for like, she's been here for about a month right now, and we still have her for a couple weeks, and we do that pretty frequently. So I do understand this, balancing my intimate relationship with my wife, my business, um, and my niece. So just want to give a little bit of a disclaimer there before y'all get high and mighty and be like, oh, you don't know what it's like to be a dad, and do that shit. Just gonna tell you, I got a little bit of a sample size, and at least I can tell you right now that I have had to significantly change my routines. Once we get into a new routine, it's great. Like, it's super easy. But I have to change my whole routine when she comes. And then now we've gotten into a flow. We kind of know what that all is. So I say all of this because the fact I'm going to dive into fatherhood today, and I want you guys to really open up, be objective, and just hear what I'm saying, because the things that I'm having men come to me with, this isn't a judgment of you men. It's not trying to attack you. It's just trying to say I'm seeing a lot of common themes with men with kids. And the biggest thing for me is it really hurts me to see guys totally abdicate their role in creating a happy life for themselves, because they lose who they are. And it's not to say that kids don't deserve every piece of you, and it's not to say that kids don't deserve the utmost attention, but it is to say that many of you men are giving the you're giving away your responsibility to giving yourself a fulfilled life. And then you're becoming so codependent on these kids and on your spouse that you lose who you are as a man. You lose who you are in this world. And what that all comes down to is the fact that the codependency on your kids, one, is unfair to them, and number two, puts you in the position of losing who you are. I see this happen with men when they get married, and then I see them do it again even more when they have kids. They release the value of who they are, and they lose the things that brought them forward into this world to who they were when they met their spouse, who they were when they had their kids. They lose that strong, confident man. Majority of them. This isn't all of you guys. Like, obviously, I'm not speaking in I'm not speaking in I'm speaking more in general terms. I'm not speaking in finality here. But I want to tell you that I can't sit here and stand by and listen to you guys be so codependent on your kids that you just completely lose all of what made you an independent, strong man in this world. And so a lot of that codependency comes, and you release your ability to give back to yourself. And namely, one of the things I see, guys, obviously, is fitness, because everybody wants to talk about dad bod. And it's like, bro, dad bod's there because y'all, one, you feed your kids shit. Kids don't know what mac and cheese is until a fucking parent puts it in front of them. Kids don't know what all these bad processed carbs are until parents put it in front of them. They don't know what all this processed sugar is until parents put it in front of them. You guys are responsible for that, because you got companies telling you, oh my God, this is a kid product. And you're like, great, this is a kid product. I'm going to give it to them. And it's all the fucking bad shit that every fat, obese person's eating. So stop giving that shit to your kids. That's one way to get rid of the dad bod, or at least prevent it or slow it down. The other thing is, don't release the responsibility of eating the way that kept you fit before you had kids, or working out, like making sure you're getting and prioritizing those things. This is what is important for us as men to continue to do, because we are what's modeling the next generation. They're not getting in a book and reading it. Most of you guys have never read a single book on masculinity. They're not getting in it either. they're seeing it modeled to them by the men in front of them, i.e., their parents, but also close other men who are in your guys' lives and you allow to be in front of them, and they're seeing that behavior and then modeling it, and then that's what they're growing up with. So just remember that, like, your codependency on your kids to abdicate to the responsibility of giving them good food, of showing them what it's like to work out every day, of reading books and being responsible and not handing them iPads and fucking phones, like, that is all on you guys. Like, that codependency to start to do the really shitty things in life, like, you're codependent on your, what I mean by this is you're relying on your kids to basically give you permission out of doing the hard shit, is what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I mean by codependency. So you do all the easy stuff. You hand them a phone, you hand them an iPad, you give them the shitty foods, you let them fucking eat all that stuff. You let them dictate what they do and don't eat, like all of that stuff. Like, so many parents do this. And then by virtue of that happening, you're eating the same shit. You're eating all that nasty stuff, and then you're getting fat, and you're not working out, and you're not drinking a gallon of water every day, and you're not doing those things that made you confident in who you are. So that codependency stuff, that needs to stop. I've counseled so many men on this when it comes to their marriages, because that's the first time this happens, and then this is the second time in your life when you're married that codependency takes hold. If it took hold of you when you first got married, it's going to be even worse when you have kids. So make sure that you are being hyper aware of this and following through with delivering to these children the good things that it is to be a responsible and healthy man in this world. Now, part of that means that, like, giving them whole foods, stop giving them shit, making sure they're eating vegetables, fruit, and meat. Like, stop giving them processed bullshit. They don't need it. And the second thing is, if you're feeding that to them, you're probably eating it too. So get off the codependency train. The second thing, guys, you all have zero fucking boundaries. Zero boundaries. Like, legit, there's no way I can sit here and think that you have any boundaries, knowing how my relationship with my niece, the standards we have in my household when she's here, the habits we have, the routines we have. There are boundaries. You know, a lot of people are like, oh my god, I can't get work done at home, my kid's all over the place, or my kid needs me. And I'm like, man, we have had my niece so often and so much. She's been here for so long in intermittent times, and we have taught her how to play on her own. Right now, while I'm doing this right now, she's being quiet in her room playing on her own. She knows that if I'm there and I say, hey, I need you to play in here on your own, your Tia's on the computer doing a phone call, I'm on a computer doing a phone call, we're doing work, can you be in here for a little bit and play on your own? She's like, yeah. Why? Because we've been doing that with her since she's young. Again, guys, your boundaries are what establishes, one, the relationship that they have, two, their ability to be able to spend time on their own, which is a functioning human. And we don't put her in front of a TV or an iPad for an hour. We literally don't do that crap. And I say this because the boundaries we have, we're trying to help usher in a human being who is going to be, one, a contributing member, two, not socially stunted, and three, because I need to give back to myself, and my wife also needs to give back to herself. And we need to fill our cups up individually and independently so we can come back together as a family with our niece, with each other, give her everything that we can so she sees good, healthy, happy, um, functioning adults, and also a strong, healthy, intimate relationship. She sees all of those positive things. And my responsibility on top of that is to show her what a positive male masculine figure is, just like my wife's is to show her what a positive feminine figure is. And so we do all of this intermingling through developing boundaries and releasing codependency. Now, I know how you guys can get codependent, guys. I do. I really do. I can see how that happens. But I'm telling you right now, you have to be hyper aware of it and prevent it, or stop it if you are doing it. The other thing is, most of you men, what I see is a huge lack of self-respect. You guys have let yourselves get out of shape. You've let yourself drift off from giving back to you the things that make you happy, the things that make you an independent man, that make you a strong masculine figure. You've gotten away from all of those things and you have no self-respect anymore. And so then what happens is mostly I see this line come out of that, which is, oh, I'm my responsibility is my kids. I love my kids. My kids are everything. They're my whole life. I just do everything for them. It's all my kids, my kids, my kids, my kids. That's what I hear all the time, guys. That's when I know you have no respect for yourself. Like I said, kids are super important. We are responsible for rearing them, especially when we're the ones bringing them into this world. We're responsible for making functioning humans. We're responsible for modeling great men and strong masculine presence to them. But at the end of the day, most y'all aren't doing that. And most y'all have no respect for yourself. So you just defer everything to your kids. And it basically deflects all the responsibility that you have and ownership that you have for how you look, how your life is, everything else. Um, it takes all of that away, at least in your mind. But then so many men like myself, we just see through it and we just know you have no self respect for who you are. You've got zero boundaries and you've become codependent. Like that's literally it. And the last thing is, a lot of you guys, you really, really lack the understanding that your modeling is your actions more than your words. Like your kids, when they see you and the way you act, the things you do, because you can tell them eat your broccoli and then you go and grab a piece of pizza, right? They're going to see that, and that is going to weigh more on their minds subconsciously, especially as they get older, than you telling them eat your broccoli. Plus, you have no fucking integrity if you do that stuff. If you're like, you eat this and I'm going to eat something different, you have no integrity. And they're going to have no integrity when they get older. And that's not a great positive male figure, I can promise you. Integrity is one of the key pieces we need as men to be, number one, perceived as being strong male figures, but number two, having a positive influence on our own personal standards, right? So most of you guys, you lack the understanding that your actions model way more than your words do. So be aware of your actions, guys. Be aware of what you're doing in front of your kids, how you're behaving, how you're treating other people, how you're treating them, all of those things. And that is what really progresses the evolution of these kids. And if you're not paying attention to that and you're not putting a ton of value into your actions, then men, you really need to look at that and say, wow, okay, I got to be better about this. I need to do what I say what I do, and behave with a high level of integrity, morals, and ethics, and also behave as a strong, positive male figure so they can see what that is. Because the more they see that, one, that's what the boys are going to grow up to be. And number two, the girls are going to look for men like that. So if the girls are seeing shitty men all over the place and we're just emphasizing that across society, you're going to have another generation valuing the shitty men, and those men are going to get to procreate and the good men don't get to procreate, right? Because they're not being valued for the skills they have. The shitty men are being valued, and that is where the problem is. You're reinforcing behaviors of masculinity if you're not being the front runner on saying like, no, a good positive masculine man is this, and this is what they look like, this is how they speak, this is how they behave, and you do those things. So modeling through actions is paramount, man. I hope that you guys take this and objectively just look at this, man. Just look at this in your life. Like if you're challenged by this and you got you're taking offense to this, cool, whatever, I don't necessarily care, but I do want you to actually look at yourself objectively, look at your life, how you're treating your kids, what this looks like in your relationship with your kids, and say, okay, am I performing well objectively? Am I doing the things Johnny's talking about? Am I actually being codependent? Am I being somebody who's not modeling that positive male figure to my kids? And once you're honest with yourself, find the areas that you can improve. Is it your physical standing? Is it your intellect? Is it your nurturing? Where is it that you can improve, and also show them what it's like to be a whole masculine, positively masculine dude in this world today? All right, hope you guys enjoyed this YouTube episode, and I'll see y'all on the next one.